Before digging into hook patterns, let me quickly explain what properties I want my hook to have, so I would consider it a good feeder hook. First of all, I want that my hook would be sharp. And here we should talk about two types of sharpness. I want that my hook would be sharp once I take it out of the packet, so the initial sharpness should be very good. And also the sharpness should remain during fishing, so I want that I would be able to land 5 or 10 fish on the same hook, and it would be more or less as sharp as it was when I took it out of the packet. Secondly, I want that hooking properties of the hook would be very good. I don't want that the fish would be able to pick up my bait with the hook and then would be able to get rid of it without hooking. And the correct shape of the hook helps as well. Thirdly, I want that my hook would be strong enough. Sometimes when fishing, for example, using method feeder rig, you can hook very big carp, and I want that my hook would be strong enough and would not bend, so I would be able to land that bonus fish. And lastly, I want that my hook would be painted. I want it to be black or dark brown and matte color as well, so not shiny. I don't like nickel hooks when feeder fishing at all. Drennen power hair riggers. These hooks are quite old and they are very good hooks for hair rigging smaller baits. Especially I like to use these hooks in smaller sizes like 16, 18, etc. Even though they are very small and very light, they are still quite wide gape. And also these hooks are quite strong for the size and the wire diameter as well, because they are forget, so the wire is a little bit flattened, so they are very strong for the size. And most of the time I use these hooks when fishing for smaller fish like skimmers, bream, smaller carp, eyed or something like that. In general, these hooks are very good, just the one thing I don't really like about them, well, a couple things really I don't like about them, that the point is quite short. So it means that it can't go very deep into the fish's flesh, so quite often bigger fish will come off when using these hooks. I'm not saying that you will lose all the fish using these hooks, but the percentage of lost fish is a little bit higher compared to other hooks I will talk a little bit later. Also, these hooks are a little bit shiny. They are not covered in Teflon or anything like that. They are a little bit shiny. They are not nickel white, but they are like, they do have like a yellow glare or something like that, like bronze glare. So that's not good as well, but still they are very nice hooks. And very good thing is that Drennen states all the information on the packet. For example, in this case I have a size 18 and it says on the packet that the wire diameter is 0.41 millimeters. And also some information on the back as well, that for example size 18 is normally tied to lines of around 4 pounds, so it would be about 2 kilos, so probably 0.15, something like that. So it's very useful as well. Preston Innovations PR36. I have to say that these hooks are very popular when method feeder fishing, and also the shape of the hook is very good. and I think that the shape of these hooks probably is the best when it comes to actually hooking the fish. They have quite a long stem, and they are not super wide gape, but they are decent size. They do have a decent size gape. Most of the time I use these hooks in smaller sizes when fishing for smaller fish. Like smaller skimmers, crucians, carachos, etc. In general, when delicate presentation is required and also when very good hooking properties are required as well. A couple of things I don't like about these hooks. First of all, they are a little bit shiny, more or less they have like a little bit of like bronze glare on them, but they are not black or dark brown, and the glare is not like it's shiny a little bit, so I don't like that. And also they are not super strong as well, because they are not forget, so the wire is not flattened a little bit, so they are not super strong for the wire diameter. Drennen carp hair riggers. These are very nice hooks. The shape is very nice, they are sharp. Hooking properties are very good as well, and also they are forget as well, so the wire is flattened a little bit, so they are super strong for the size, diameter of the wire as well. And they hold the fish. Once you hook the fish, they hold the fish on the hook very well as well. The only disadvantage of these hooks, I would say, is that they are not covered in Teflon. They are a little bit shiny, as you can see on camera. And also, after using these hooks for a while, let's say when you will be landing like 10 fish in a row, these hooks not retain the sharpness on the point. I'm not saying that you have to change it, but you will have to check these hooks more often than others, which I will talk about in a minute. But other than that, very nice hooks for method feeder, and not only that, and also when using longer hook links and you want to hair rig like little pieces of worm, couple of maggots, maybe something like that. These are very nice hooks, very light hooks and very fine wire as well. And again, as it's Drennen, it has all required information more or less on the packet. For example, in this case I have size 14, and it says that wire diameter is 0.48 millimeters. And also it says that 14 is normally tied to lines of around 4 to 5 pounds, so let's say to 2 kilos plus, so it would be probably 0.17 millimeters in diameter. Guru QM1s. These are probably one of the most popular hooks in the UK when it comes to method feeder fishing. And these are actually very good hooks, but they are not my favorite. I would say that good hooks are in sizes 10 or 12. Everything over 14 is not really good because they are too small, and being so small, and also they don't have like their eyes are not offset enough, so when you tie, let's say, on size 16, well, if you would tie 0.17 line on size 16 hook, the angle of the line would close the hook's point, so more or less you wouldn't be able to hook the fish as effectively. So more or less these hooks in smaller sizes, well, 16, 18 and smaller, are useless. You don't want to use them at all unless you are using braid, but if you are using mono, they are useless. Having said that, in size 10 or 12 they are very good hooks. I would say that they are the sharpest hooks you can get, like for that price, and they are also very strong hooks, and the hooking properties are very good, and the percentage of hooked to landed fish is very good as well, close to 100% as well. So more or less these are perfect hooks in bigger sizes, and also they have Teflon coating, so they are black, and I have to say that they have very good initial sharpness, and also this sharpness remains during the fishing most of the time. If the bottom is not gravelly or anything, where are you fishing, you will be able to use a single hook all day long. They are so good. And also they are supplied in little boxes which actually do clip together, so just like that. Guru pellet waggler hooks. I have to say that these hooks are by far my favorite hooks when feeder fishing, even though they were designed to fish on the float, so when pellet waggler fishing and presenting pellets here rigged and under a pellet waggler float. But I have to say that these hooks are also very good for pellet waggler. They are the best probably for that, but also I have found that these hooks for me are the best for method feeder fishing, and also when I'm fishing for BREAM using like worms, like big worms or smaller worms on the herring as well. These hooks are by far the best and most reliable, and the hooking properties are very good as well. And also it's very interesting that these hooks are shaped very well, so you can use like 20 size hook and tie it onto 0.17, so quite heavy line, and still the hook will be sitting very nicely because the eyes are turned at a very correct angle. And also these hooks are very sharp as well. I remember I fished one match a couple of years back, and I used just one hook for that match, and after the match I actually left my rod ready in the holdall, and after a week I pulled out the same rod, checked the hook, and it looked okay, it looked very sharp. So I went on to fishing next match on the same hook, and still I managed to land probably about, as far as I can remember, about 60 to 70 pounds of carp, so it would be about 30 kilos of carp, and I can't remember that I would lose any fish. So these hooks are very sharp, so initial sharpness is very good, and also the sharpness remains during fishing. So yeah, these hooks, as you can see, have very wide gape, quite long point, and also the eye is offset to one side as well. So the hooking properties are very good, just amazing. And also they are not very thick in wire as well. For example, now I have size 10, and as you can see, it's not very thick in wire diameter as well. And also, as you can see, these hooks are painted in dark brown color, so that's a bonus as well. So yeah, I use these hooks for everything. When hair rigging, I use them for pellets, boilies, maggots, worms, sweet corn, everything really, depending on the hook, of course. On the bait I choose the correct hook size. For example, if I would be fishing single maggot hair rig, then I would use something like size 20 or size 18. If I would use a, let's say, 10 mil boilie, I would use size 10 maybe. If I would use half a worm maybe, I would use size 16 or something like that. So these hooks are very versatile and very reliable. In my opinion, these are the best hooks you can buy. And that's it from me for today. But before saying goodbye, I have to mention that I'm not sponsored by any of these companies which hooks I just mentioned. I put together this video as a consumer angler. So I hope this little video will be useful in your own angling, and I hope the hook choice will be easier for you. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.